Welcome to SVG-TV News for Thursday, August 6th, 2020. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Recently, the Caribbean Guyana Institute for Democracy stripped Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzalez of a democracy prize they gave to him more than a decade ago. He is, however, unbothered by the decision. The motion to revoke the Democracy Prize accused PM Gonzlez of violating the principles of democracy and the terms of the prize by interfering in the elections in Guyana in a partisan manner to help one side rather than act as an intermediary to help bring about an amicable and just solution. Speaking on the matter on the radio yesterday, PM Gonzlez said that the decision to strip him of the prize speaks a lot about the organization, while noting he could not say where the prize is, which he is expected to return by the end of this month.
Years ago, I was given a prize by an organization which apparently is not a significant organization. That they've withdrawn it. It's the first time a man who got a prize for democracy has had it withdrawn for standing up for democracy. Well, that will tell you something about that organization, not about me. And just by the way, people ask me where this, I can't remember the details of what I was given. And to tell you the truth, I don't even know if I left it in New York or brought it home with me or where it is. I really don't know.
PM Gonzalez said that he is not worried about the prize, but will continue to stand up for democracy, which he firmly believes in.
I'm not saying that that's what I think of them or their organization. No, it's not. It's just that these things don't particularly matter me. What matters me is the enduring love that people will have for me, for the work that I'm doing for St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the region. And most importantly, the blessings that I have been given by Almighty God and the love that He has shown to me.
The Prime Minister said he has congratulated the new president of Guyana, Irfan Ali of the People's Progressive Party, who was sworn in on Saturday.
They were sworn in. The messages had been messages of thanks for CARICOM's role were sent by them to the CARICOM Secretariat and to myself as chairman of CARICOM. And we issued a message, which you would have seen, welcoming the declaration. What precipitated the final declaration was the decision in the Court of Appeal, decision by the Chief Justice first, and then by the Court of Appeal unanimously.
The mother of 29-year-old John Abbott of Langley Park, Georgetown, who was shot by the police and subsequently died on Saturday, August 1st, is seeking answers as she said the details into the shooting incident as presented by the police are questionable. Nayoka Abbott Balcom said she has since retained a lawyer as she wants justice for her son. We hear more in this report.
On Saturday, August 1, John Abbott's body was found 400 yards away from his home in Langley Park, Georgetown, on a farmer's land. Today, the grieving mother, Nayoka Abbott Balcom, said that she is not satisfied with the police investigations and that there are many unanswered questions surrounding the death of her son. The grieving mother said the deceased, who is the last of 4 sons, told her on Friday night that he was going out for the night, which was the last time she saw and spoke to him. Abbott Balcom, who is a farmer, said that on Saturday morning she noticed her son's slippers and hat in the yard but did not think anything was wrong. She said she went to her farm and it was only when she returned that she was informed of the shooting incident involving her son.
My second son, who is living down on the main road, he came up crying. He said to me, Nai, no drive-by shooting with Jean, you know. It's the police who killed Jean because they came down the road last night after they done shoot Jean and say Jean shoot at them and Jean run. But they never said that they fired back. They came, they turned up my house, inside out, upside down. And then afterwards they came and they said, well, they're ready to take me. So the condition I was in, because my pressure went up very high, but it so happened that where he was, the police moved him. They put him in the body bag, and they had already put him in the hospital before his other brothers and his father could have seen him.
According to Abbott Balcom, she found it strange that her son ran a long stretch of road in slippers.
You could run in a slippers from there all that way to here, his slipper. And when I came and saw, you could naturally see the slippers was in a position where, like, when he got the gunshot, he just kicked the slippers off and started to run.
Abbott Balcom said that the neighbors heard 4 gunshots, and to her surprise, she did not hear anything. A police report on the incident said between the hours of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., a group of police officers were returning from a function when they saw the deceased walking along the Langley Park public road, who had what appeared to be a gun in his right hand. The police reportedly alighted the vehicle, identified themselves to the deceased, and shouted for him to stop and drop his weapon. But the deceased did not obey the command, instead turned around and opened fire at the police. The police reportedly returned fire and the deceased began to run. The police gave chase, and upon reaching in front of his place of abode, the deceased turned around and again opened fire at the police. The police returned fire and shot the deceased in his right thigh. The police report also stated that the deceased reportedly ran to the back of his house, scaled 2 walls and escaped. The account of the incident, as reported by the police, is being questioned by Abbott Balcom.
I was told as the day went by that after gunshots were fired, they saw a white vehicle went back down the road, and then not too long after, the transport came up with a woman police and the driver for the transport, and they were searching on the ground there. So it seems like he came back to look for his spent shell, and it seems like while they were there searching, the light went off. They went next door to a neighbor, and that was just around 4 o'clock. Just after 4, they went next door to a neighbor, asked for a searchlight.
The grieving mother has since hired a lawyer to further investigate the matter. She said that persons have been interviewed by the lawyer and eyewitnesses have spoken out. Abbott Balcom said that her son had a few brushes with the law and she never defended his wrongs. However, she said he should not be labeled as a gangster.
He loves the party. He's family oriented and he's a community person. The police have branded him as a gangster. But my question to the police who are branding him as a gangster, I would like them to pull his file that they have on him and let them show to the public how much conviction does he have.
For SVG-TV News, Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
And the family of the late Marcus Carden, a 49-year-old mechanic formerly of Belair, who was gunned down on August 19, 2019, is soliciting the assistance from the general public in obtaining pertinent information that will aid with the investigation and lead to the apprehension and prosecution of the perpetrator or perpetrators. For such information, the family is offering a $5,000 reward. Persons with information are asked to contact the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of crime at telephone number 1784-4561339 or the officer in charge charge of the South Central Division at 1784-4584-200 or any police officer or police station you are comfortable with. All information, they say, will be dealt with confidentially. The police investigations into the homicide are ongoing. And in more police-related news, we hear that Marlon Wilkinson, a 46-year-old naval officer of South Rivers, was arrested and charged with assault and obstruction. The police say the accused allegedly assaulted a sergeant of police in the due execution of his duty by pushing him on his chest with his hands. He was additionally charged with obstructing the aforementioned police officer by pulling away one Diana Young from him, he being a police officer acting in the due execution of his duty. The incident is said to have occurred at Richmond Hill about 5:05 p.m. on July 31st, 2020. Wilkinson appeared before the Serious Offences Court to answer the charges and pleaded not guilty. The matter was adjourned to September 21st, 2020 and transferred to the Kingston Magistrate Court. Wilkinson is presently on station bail. And the police have also arrested and charged Kyron Shallow, a 28-year-old laborer of Rockies, with wounding. The police say, according to their investigation, the accused allegedly, unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 31-year-old accountant of Richmond by stabbing him on the right side of his body and on his head with a pair of scissors at about 11:30 p.m. on July 5th at Rockies. Shallow appeared before the Serious Offences Court to answer to the charge and pleaded not guilty. The matter was adjourned and transferred to the Kingston Magistrate Court for September 29, 2020. Station bail continues. In another incident, this time in Richland Park, the police have arrested and charged Mikey Pompey, a 41-year-old mason of the same address, with wounding and grievous bodily harm. The police say investigations carried out reveal that the accused allegedly, unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 63-year-old farmer of Simon by chopping him on his forehead and right hand with a cutlass, causing grievous bodily harm. At Richland Park, about 4 p.m. on August 1st, the accused appeared before the Serious Offences Court for an arraignment and was denied bail. He was remanded into custody until August 12th for bail review. In other news, the high stench of Sagasam seaweed in Paget Farm, Beckway, is reportedly causing some health concerns for residents. The seaweed usually piles up just in front of Toko's Bar, creating a challenge for the owners who oftentimes have to clean up the area to lessen the stench. SVG-TV News spoke to some concerned residents who made suggestions on what can be done to eliminate the problem.
The seaweed is very devastating to our fishing industry because when the seaweed come ashore, and especially when it get into the canal down there and it rotten, and then the tide take it back out to the sea, all the stench and all the colors, it badly affect the fishing area, especially divers, because it kind of contrasts the water. I live right in this area here. All my life, and right now the stench is very high. It hurt your head, give you a lot of headache. So I think what we need to do is like just black up this whole area, black this whole area. So when the seaweed come in, it can just bypass and go out like.
Real bad. So it affects me sometimes real bad, especially when we're down here, no? You must smell it down too low than when it's up this side here. They come, yeah, and throw them over there. Sometimes they throw them up in the bearing ground. Yeah.
Oh, it's a little problem. Infection, smelling and thing. Body is nose and inside the body.
Every day we come by the shop, they affecting. The smell, and if you move it down to the airport side, it's smelling from here. Well, we have to get manpower to clean it. And maybe we want something to black. They for the tide take it out and come into the shore.
The Modern Medical Complex at Georgetown will host a blood drive tomorrow, Friday, August 7th, to sensitize the public about its new on-site blood collection service. The center recently started the process of blood collection as it seeks to enhance the delivery of health services in SVG. At tomorrow's event, which is expected to start at 10 in the morning, persons will be given the opportunity to donate blood. There will be a brief ceremony which will hear addresses from several officials, including Minister of Health Luke Brown. Intentions, particularly the youth, have been encouraged to seize all opportunities presented to them for a successful future. This encouragement comes from Principal of the Kingston Technical Institute, Bartolion Hamilton, as he addressed the launch of Cohort 3 of the Youth and Adult Training for Employment Program, the YIDE, at the Methodist Church Hall on Wednesday. Under the program, some 193 persons between the age group 17 to 45 will be provided with training in a number of areas over a 13-week period, inclusive of a 2-week workshop on life skills and financial literacy. Hamilton said the training will help the participants earn a lifelong skill and encourage them to seek further training upon completing the program so that they can obtain employment or start their own business.
Say quickly is that we tend to want to do it by ourselves. The skills that you learn, let me encourage you to form little groupings and you finish. So that don't try and do it on your own, especially those persons in the food. It's a challenge to cook food by yourself. So you get yourself in little groupings and then you can go out and perform better. Now I'd also like to encourage you. These 12 weeks will give you quite a few of the skills required for the qualification. But I would like to encourage you beyond the 12 weeks to consider doing the full qualification at some point in time later on at one of the technical institutes. So it may not be this year, but maybe for next year, consider after having your feet wet to be a part of our full-time program and benefit more from the qualification that you've been trained for, even other qualifications that you may see other students involved in as you go through the program.
Also providing encouragement to the participants was Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Michael Burke, who welcomed the initiative, which is sponsored by the World Bank. He encouraged the participants to put in the effort to attain the results they want.
This is indeed a welcome initiative. It is sponsored by the World Bank. So in essence, for you, it might appear free. But as I said, there is a cost, and the cost you would pay with your commitment. So this is another phase in your development, another aspect of your journey. And life is the product of many journeys. Where we arrive is determined by what we put in. My mother would always say, what you put in is what you get out. And you agree? What you put in is what you get out. So I urge you, stay the course, apply yourselves, and at the end of this journey, you would gain more than just a certificate. You would gain knowledge, and ultimately you would gain employment. Thank you, and continue on your journey.
Director of the National Qualifications Department, Kenroy Kittel, said the training will be worthwhile for those who take it seriously.
What counts now under this project, there are several standards that are based on occupational standards. So we have in electrical, we have in the tourism industry, we have food, commercial food preparation, we have food and beverages. So in other words, you're trained for the tourism industry, you're also trained for the construction industry. In terms of general construction, we have welding, there's plumbing, and a number of other areas. And we're also thinking about the automotive industry, which will also be added to the program. One of the things we do is that we try to interlink with the labor market to see what is required in order to bring our programs, so that at the end you're not just doing a program for program's sake, but it would have some worth.
The orientation sessions for the program will end tomorrow, Friday, August 7th, 2020, and official training will begin on Monday, August 10th. The program is designed to provide training for vulnerable unemployed youths and adults in National Vocational Qualification and Caribbean Vocational Qualification Levels 1 and 2 programs. The fourth cohort of the program will commence in January 2021. Become a park ranger to help protect SVG's natural resources. The encouragement comes from several rangers who took the opportunity to highlight the importance of their work in observance of World Rangers Day on Friday, July 31st, 2020. Speaking with the Ministry of Agriculture's Communication Unit, Park Ranger with the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, Stanley Walker, said while his work is fulfilling, there are some challenges they have to deal with on an ongoing basis. He highlighted the issue of littering at the various recreational sites.
Sites, they have no staff. You know, we have several beaches and some sites, unlike some of our sites, they have no staff. And this also poses a challenge because having no staff to really spend longer hours there, you do have visitors at times as they visit those sites. You know, they would vandalize, they would abuse the resources and vandalize structures and things like that. And so this poses a very serious challenge to us. So this is one of the challenges that I face. And so that's why we need people to be responsible, every individual to be responsible in ensuring that, you know, whatever we do, our actions, you know, we are not guilty of any breach, of breaking any law, any regulation, or abusing any resources.
Walker encouraged persons to work along with the park rangers to protect the environment and its resources for future generation.
To carry on, they can have resources to carry on. And so conservation is very important, okay? So the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever resources we have, then in the future, it will be because we would have put measures in place and because we would have worked hard to conserve. This work also calls for patience. Sometimes some of the things we do not see the result right away. It calls for patience. This work is one where you have to be able to work with others, and you have to be able to work alone, and you have to be able to work long hours. And these are joys, all these are joys, these are things that I do enjoy, okay? So I do enjoy being a park ranger, and I encourage many of our young people out there who are seeking a career, do become a park ranger today and help us make St. Vincent and the Grenadines healthier, cleaner, greener, so that we can have a brighter future.
Forestry Officer Samuel Harry said the work of a forest ranger includes the protection of the flora and fauna of SVG, which is necessary for life, and he encouraged all rangers and others to continue to manage, conserve, and protect the environment.
The conservation work that we are doing is invaluable to St. Vincent, because if you don't protect what you have in a mountain, it would affect what you have in the sea. So we have the Rich to Reef concept where we protect what is up there to protect what is down on the reef. So from that aspect, it is extremely rewarding as a forestry officer to see what you have planted or what you have done for the last 30 years come to fruition currently. So I would advise that persons who are interested in the field of agriculture or any sort of science to check the forestry department, so that you can understand what we do down there and appreciate more of what we are offering the country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The SVG Coast Guard Regional Security System Basic Seamanship course will hold its graduation ceremony at 10 tomorrow, Friday, August 7th, at the Coast Guard base at Calico. The basic seamanship course this year had 14 participants. This course is normally conducted at the RSS training unit in Antigua. However, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the course was conducted at the SVG Coast Guard base, which has conducted to date 7 basic seamanship course over the last 14 years. The course is 5 weeks, which began on Monday, July 20th. Over the 5 weeks, the students receive lectures in a number of areas. At tomorrow's graduation ceremony, participants will receive their certificates and awards for performances in academics, physical training, and practical subjects. The featured speaker at the graduation ceremony will be Dr. Idelia Ferdinand. Other speeches will be given by Commissioner of Police Colin John and Coast Guard Commander Brenton Kane.